meet the committee, see what we do, what our roles are, the things that are available and opportunities that you can take within the Golden Key Wits chapter, talk to you a bit about elections because our term is about to come to an end. So you get to learn how that process is going to work and to start considering if you'd like to be a part of the incoming committee. We're going to look at the events that we've done this year, the ones that are still going to happen if you'd like to be involved, just to give you an idea of what we've been up to. We're going to have 2 speakers as well who are both current Golden Key members and who are very active members of their communities, who will give us some insight into how it is that they balance their academics, their community involvement, and their me time. And then lastly, we're going to end off with a Q&A. So that's the introduction. However, we encourage you to use the Q&A function throughout the presentation. If you see there's a chat option and a Q&A option. So in the Q&A option, please just drop any questions that you have. We'll be answering them throughout the presentation. If we miss any, we'll answer them at the end during the Q&A part, and then use the chat function just to talk if you'd like to introduce yourself, to talk to the other people, but your Q&A will be for questions. So we're going to begin on that note. So we're going to start off with meeting the committee, just so you can learn who the faces are, what it is that we do. And so as the committee, we are responsible for making Golden Key come to life at WITS. So there is head office that runs the main operations in Golden Key, South Africa. But each chapter has its own things that they do within their universities. And so most events that you see happening on campus that are Golden Key related are done by us, just like this is done by us, and the social media accounts for Golden Key Wits chapter is run by us. So we're essentially the bridge between Golden Key head office in South Africa and the Wits community. So on that note, my name is Kondisa Sibego, and I am the president of Golden Key Wits chapter. And my role entails doing what most presidents or chair people do within their committees. It's making sure that everything is done on time, that the committee is together and fine, that everyone is executing their roles, that everything interconnects, and that essentially the machine keeps working. I'm also the bridge between our chapter advisors, who I'll explain later, and head office and the committee. I schedule all of our meetings, I run all of the meetings, and I essentially supervise all activity that happens within Golden Key Wits chapter. So I essentially do what you'd expect most presidents or chair people to do, with the exception of a few extra functions that are specific to Golden Key. And then I'm also responsible, alongside with my vice president, for making sure that at least once a year, something like this happens, where you get to meet us and just to be able to touch base about what's happening within the chapter. On to Hannah.
Hi guys, my name is Hannah Krenke, so I am the vice president of the chapter. And essentially my duties entail helping Gondi with the day-to-day running of the WITS chapter, as well as assisting the other chapter members with their projects and roles. So pretty much, as Gondi has already said, that we have various events that take place, number one. And the other thing that we do together is we just make sure that the day-to-day running of the chapter goes smoothly, as well as liaising with head office, chapter members, as well as the committee members as well. So the next chapter members that assist us are our secretaries.
Hi guys, my name is Ntomzelo Lwatsa, but everyone just calls me Ntombi. And I am one of the secretaries of the Golden Key Wits chapter. I'm just going to explain partly what we as secretaries do, and then I'll hand over to Stuart to explain the rest of what we do. So one of mine and Stuart's jobs is to capture minutes of all meetings that we have as the Golden Key Society, Golden Key Executive Committee. And basically we alternate the person who writes the minutes depending on our schedules. And if one person does the minutes, so for example, if this week I do the minutes, then Stuart will check them and then we'll send them into the group chat and upload them onto a drive that we have on Google. So we basically just understand and help each other according to our schedules. I'll hand over to Stuart to explain the rest of what our job entails.
Hi, everyone. So we are responsible for the newsletter, which we try and send out just to make sure that all of the Golden Key members from WITS are kept in the loop with what we're doing and some of the upcoming events. And also we like to add in, a bit of reflections from some of our executive committee members. Then we also deal a lot with communication, not so much towards the whole Golden Key Wits chapter community, but just within the executive committee, we make sure that everything is organized. We have a database of all the Golden Key minutes whenever we have a meeting and things like that. So we generally just make sure that everything is organized and that the whole executive committee can run smoothly.
All right. Good late afternoon, approaching evening to all you sentient beings of the Milky Way. My name is Sibesihle. Knowledge is my real name, it's not a nickname. No one uses Sibesihle, not even my parents. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. So what do I do as the treasurer? Okay, I'll tell you. There's a treasure chest, right? It has gold doubloons, and in the center, it has a black diamond. So my job involves working with supreme government intelligence agencies to plan for and create a tactical special ops team to look after the treasure chest and protect it from theft. This, of course, is absolute nonsense. That's not what I do. I wish I did that. What do I really do? Okay, I'm gonna divide it into two avenues, okay? There's the budgeting aspect of it. That's the first avenue. The second avenue entails more of sort of fundraising, right? Okay, so with the budgeting, I'll separate that into two categories. So there's the big budget, the big one, which details estimates of income and expenses you expect to receive and incur respectively throughout the year, right? So that's a big budget you do at the beginning of the year. This is then submitted to head office. The second category of budgets are sort of the small budgets that you are supposed to prepare well in advance before any event of some sort. These are then submitted to our advisors, who are sort of the go-to people to get money for committee-related things. The second avenue, which is fundraising, is when I sort of work with the fundraising director, Dibello. You'll talk to him just now. And the basic fundamental question we tackle is, how are we going to raise money for the chapter? Okay, it's such a simple question, yet it has proven to be one of the most difficult questions to deal with. This is when selling yourself the idea of burning the line in terms of entrepreneurship 101, they factor in, right? And this is where I would basically say to anyone looking to be a Golden Key exec, is that your ego and your pride should go out of the window, okay? Just out the window. You don't assume you know things, all right? So you should basically assume that you don't know things. That way you are willing to learn, and you need to ask for help when you need to, okay? That's very important. Thank you. Dibello?
All right. Hello, guys. This is Dibello Tswafo speaking, and I am your fundraising director. So basically, Knowledge has already, covered most of my bases. My job as the fundraising director is just to coordinate fundraising activities for our chapter initiatives, and to make sure that every initiative that we have has enough funds, to cover all the things that we need to do. Because guys, the truth is, you can have all the ideas in the world, but like if you don't have the money, it's kind of like a problem. So particularly going into the portfolio, I actually thought it was easy, but it didn't actually turned out to be as easy as I thought it would be. And yeah, knowledge is kind of right. When you go into this thing, you gotta like throw your ego out of the way, because I went in here with a big mindset and I was thinking, fundraising has to be like, I gotta bring in like thousands and things like that. I just learned that it's just about the small things, like, even a bake sale or whatever it is, just those small things, they count. For example, beginning of the year, we had like a raffle, which was like actually ironically more organized by our service director, Sheu. It was kind of like successful. I mean, we didn't like raise a lot of funds, but it was pretty much successful. And through that, I actually learned that actually this fundraising thing, it's more about the small things. It's not, you don't really have to like bring in millions of anything. So yeah. So basically, just to add on, some of the things I have to do is just to determine and address those planned chapter activities that require additional funds and plan those fundraising activities accordingly. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Siete. I am the Professional Development Director Officer, along with my partner, Siasanga, who will introduce herself in a short bit. So what we do in the Professional Development Director portfolio is coordinate and implement chapter professional development activities, including academic events, leadership development events, career development initiatives, as well as speaker series. Examples of these of career development events include the upcoming series of webinars that my colleague Stuart is going to speak more about, and we also have the THINKER'S Symposium that my partner Siasanga will basically touch on. So Siasanga.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiasanga Quinana. I'm Sia for short. I am Brian's co-partner for the Professional Development Director. And yeah, he's basically spoken very well on all the events that we do. And under the section where we speak about the events we've done, I'll be touching on the THINKER'S Symposium. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Oluwaseun Lubamera, but people call me Sheon. So I'm from Nigeria and I'm the service director. For my role, I plan events, so things that we could use to give back to the community. So we do like donations, programs and stuff like that, but like mostly everything is back to the community. I look to try and help people around and just like give back. So it's like service, like giving back to like people around and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I do. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Portia Mwepe and I am the Campus and Community Outreach Director for Golden Key. If I think there's one word that describes my role as the Campus and Community Outreach Director, is networking. So basically that is the act of exchanging information and securing professional or social networks or contacts, right? And I chose this portfolio or role because I suck at networking and I thought this would be a great outlet for me to learn, to come out of my bubble and actually learn how to network. So I've summarized my responsibilities and roles into 4 points. And one of the things that I do is to organize personal events, or events that are orientated towards personal development. And one of the events, or some of the events that I had a privilege of organizing, was the Mental Health Awareness Week and the Exam Preparation Week. And of course, with the help of my team, my splendid team. And we're currently also working with the professional director, Brian, on an event that is orientated towards equipping graduates with a mental mindset that prepares them for a workplace. And another thing that I do is to contribute to the awareness of Golden Key on our campus, and I ensure that partnership with other Golden Key chapters are there. I engage community leaders and encourage alumni involvement. And lastly, I plan and coordinate honorary membership activities. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, I'm Justin Onefour. So Stuart and I, we're just sharing a laptop due to connectivity issues. I'm the membership recruitment director, and my portfolio is spreading awareness to first years and other students on campus that our society exists, and giving students the opportunity to understand what we're about and all the opportunities that come around with joining Golden Key. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
Okay, I'm going to explain what Lerato does. Essentially, she is our public relations director. I'm not sure how many of you are following us on our social media platforms, but she is the one who makes our platforms look good. I think our Instagram is very interactive, and she works hard every day to make sure that that happens. But all of our posters, all of our social media platforms, sometimes emails, she is responsible for all of those things as our public relations director. As I mentioned earlier, we have chapter advisors. So these chapter advisors are Neo Quindi and Portahale, and they work at the WITS Development and Leadership Unit. So if you were a part of first year experience, you might have come across them at some point, but they are responsible for also being a bridge between head office and the WITS chapter committee. And what they do is they are responsible for anything that are out of our bounds. So things like finances. So even though we have someone who manages finances on our committee, we can't necessarily directly communicate with the university about those finances. So they are able to check our bank balance, make sure those things are happening. They are responsible for facilitating the transition between committees. So when the next committee comes in, they will be responsible for making sure that you are able to come in and that you know all the info that you need to do. But they essentially help our chapter with anything that we need, whether it's help us plan our events or anything around that area. And that's what they're responsible for. So next we're going to look at our year calendar. So the year is almost over, so we'll mostly be looking at past events and then some future events that are still coming up. We roughly have 4 left, but we've done a couple of events over this year, and we just wanted to go through all of them so you can see our highlights and what we've done over the year. Maybe you've been a part of it. So the first event that we have to plan is O Week. For those of you that have had opportunity to go to O Week in your first year or in any other year, you might have seen us around. So we have 2 main functions that we need to do simultaneously during O Week. The first one is organizing the tables. So if you have attended O Week in person, there's an SRC marquee outside of the Great Hall where all clubs and societies set up tables where you get to meet them, meet the committee, and try to sign up for clubs and societies. So we have a table there where people get to know a bit about Golden Key, sign up for our Golden Hands program, and just learn what we do. And then secondly, we present to every single faculty. So we have 1 per day on every weekday, and we just present to them so all first years know what Golden Key does, how it is that you can become a part of it, and how it is that you can best manage your life and best maximize the university experience. On to Shehu.
So hi guys. Oh, sorry. Do you know I didn't notice that was blocking my view? So we had the Valentine's Day raffle. So this idea for the Valentine's Day raffle was just to tell people how important they were. So it was to promote self-love, because from the previous years I saw they were doing that. So I was like, might as well just continue the tradition. And this was really fun. So we were at every campus, which was big. We went to every single campus to display a table to tell people about how much they should love themselves and how they're important. And we gave out sweets. We were also able to like raise money to donate stuff, and it was really good. We were able to come up with about almost 1,000 rand, which was quite good for like the first event we had, like to get people to donate. It wasn't as easy as we expected, but like with the help of every single person in the community, it actually turned out to be very good. So yes, that was one of the events that I did as the service director.
Right. So the next event that we had took place from the 10th of March to the 15th of March, and that was our information tables. So this gave the opportunity to new members to come and find out what Golden Key is about, the opportunities that Golden Key offers, such as the scholarships, the internship programs, and studying abroad. So we had tables on main campus, West campus, East campus, as well as education. And the turnout at the beginning of the week was a bit slow, but it progressed throughout the week. And we did notice that the outreach came more from second years and above. So in as much as we tried to focus on first years, there was a general consensus that we also needed to focus more with second years, third years, as well as honors as well.
Okay. So just when the lockdown happened, we had decided, we originally planned to have like this big mental health week on campus, but then obviously the lockdown happened, so we couldn't do that. So instead we decided to sort of shift it around and focus more on how students and how to help students deal with the mental pressure and the mental exhaustion that comes from, you know, the whole pandemic firstly, and from studying from home. So we had a whole week with different people on Instagram Live where we interviewed them, and we had discussions with people like psychologists, and we had a former SRC member come and speak about her experiences. And so, yeah, it was just a way to raise awareness for, you know, mental health.
Right. So the second online event we had was an exam preparation week, where we got an expert in to speak about exam tips, and more so with the fact that a lot of our exams, or 90% of our exams, were online. So how you study for an exam online, how do you prepare, efficient tips on working with a specific time period, as well as having a take-home exam, what to do and what not to do. And the reception that we got from that was quite good, because a lot of people were nervous and had a lot of anxiety in terms of writing exams online in comparison to the normal sit-down exam.
Hi guys, so we had our very first THINKER'S Symposium this year, and the aim of the THINKER'S Symposium event is to form a youth think tank that focuses on creating a space and network for young engagement in issues that affect the youth. So in as much as the pandemic that we are in has limited the extent of this engagement, the WITS Golden Key chapter still found it necessary to still engage in these conversations and take them online. So the topic for the past THINKER'S Symposium we had was cancel culture. The question specifically stated, is it promoting accountability and self-awareness, or is it an avenue for people to freely bully and troll someone without judgment? And what does it say about us as a human race? What we also found stimulating and interesting as the Golden Key to have an event like this, the THINKER'S Symposium, is because, you know, when people think of Golden Key, they always think about people who are just invested in academics. So the nice thing about this event is that it gives a holistic view of what the Golden Key Committee intends to do, which is also to engage students in critical issues and to encourage discourse and dialogue. So that's what this event did.
So hi guys, we just got one question for, has Golden Hands been running from last year? So we were about to start working with Golden, like I have the group chat, we made the group chat, I had giving instructions to people, but like we couldn't because of the COVID issue, because we had to go home. So like, before I even go through that detail, I need to explain to you what Golden Hands are, like what they do. So Golden Hands are the volunteers, student volunteers that work hand in hand with us, the Golden Key Committee, especially me, because as the service director, we have like a lot of initiatives and groups planned. So they work with us to make it like, have them have an experience of what it is to like give back to society and give back to community. One of the initiatives that we do with Golden Hands is the food drive. So it's like, it's the church, the Catholic Church, the Trinity House. So they have like where they feed like the homeless or people that haven't been able to get food. So the Golden Hands volunteer and like serving the food, cleaning up after. We were not able to do that this year because of the COVID situation. We were just about to do that, but because of like COVID, like I said before. But like I do encourage you, if you're interested, to join Golden Hands, like maybe for next year, maybe like if we're allowed back on campus, because it's quite nice to like give back to society, as well as we also had the plan this year to like allow people start like putting it in their CV. So like it being like getting a certificate and stuff about it. So yes. Now I'm going to talk to you about the Nelson Mandela Project. This is currently what we are, our initiative right now. So the Nelson Mandela Day Project is basically to see what does Mandela Day mean to you? So we are running a program on Instagram where you can comment under what Mandela Day means to you, send a video what Mandela Day means to you, as well as send an email of what Mandela Day means to you, actually get like this awesome prizes. I would encourage people to still join. The offer is still until about later in August. So it would be nice for you to just join and just tell us. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that is so like much. It just needs to be something that is like what it means to you, like your inner peace and like stuff like that. Okay, so I just got a question about, let's see, Golden Hands needs to find a way of becoming operational during the pandemic. Food is an essential service. Okay, so somebody is thinking like a way of becoming operational during the pandemic. The thing is that because the pandemic was just rushed into, we couldn't like communicate with the church or stuff like that on how we could have like done that and everything. So I would actually, in connection, if the next committee wouldn't mind, like think of ways that we could actually do that. Because as far as I'm concerned, serving food to people and stuff like that would not always be a safe option during this period, because we don't know much about this virus and it won't be advised to do that. Okay, so I think I have, okay, so yes, that is all for me. And thank you for the questions, guys.
Okay, we're now going to go on to upcoming events. There's roughly 3 left. Just to also add on to what Shehu said, I think I'd just like to explain a little bit about how far our powers go as a committee and our resources go. So we don't have a lot of resources. As Tebelo said, a lot of the money that we have is money that we're able to fundraise. Signups only really happened recently, and we still have yet to access that money. So we don't have a lot of money. So with the money that we had, because we raised roughly just under 1,000 in the beginning of the year. So the money that we raised, we're using for the Nelson Mandela Day project. We would love to be able to get as involved as possible within handing out food parcels and helping to feed people. But unfortunately, we don't have access to the finances to be able to do that. And most of us are at our homes trying to quarantine and stay away from the virus. So that's just roughly the situation with that. So we've just been doing a lot of posting about how other people can get involved. We've been posting organizations that you can donate to or that you can help with if you'd like to. I see all your questions. If we don't answer them throughout, we will definitely answer them in the Q&A section at the end. Thank you.
All right, so the first sort of event that's coming up, in about 2 weeks, from the 17th to the 21st of August, is centered around graduating into the global pandemic and recession. And so the idea behind this is to sort of have like a week-long workshop where we try and help final year students and graduates, just help to prepare them for entering into the workplace in an environment of an ongoing pandemic, and then obviously with that, a recession. So throughout the week, there'll be split into 2 main sort of like parts. So the first part will be speaking more about how to have a solid online presence in terms of like you're having a good LinkedIn profile, and then also how to have interviews, how to conduct yourself in interviews, especially interviews that are now going to be take place virtually and online. And then the second part of that we will be having a few Instagram lives where we'll be discussing things like how do you transition from a school environment into a workplace environment, and then also other things like financial management, which is very important for young graduates coming out of university, and how to just manage their finances in a sustainable way. And then lastly, they'll also be looking a bit at youth employment and just how to engage and deal with those type of issues. So please come and join us in a couple of weeks for that event.
Hi guys, so it's Sia again. An upcoming event that our committee is also going to be having is a second Golden Key Thinker Symposium, which is going to be on the 26th of August, which is in the spirit of our Women's Month project. And basically, like I've stated, the purpose of the Thinker Symposium is basically to encourage critical engagement with important issues that affect not only us as students, but society at large. And the topic for the second Thinker Symposium is going to be centered around women empowerment, female power, and we are encouraging everybody to please register to be part of the Thinker Symposium, whether this is whether women empowerment is something that you're passionate about or you're not passionate about it. It's just really great to tune in and listen in. Closer to the time, we will be sharing more about it on our Instagram page and our Twitter pages, so please look out for that. But it's really a great way to get in touch with the committee and get in touch with what other speakers have to say. So we're encouraging you guys to please look out for that.
So our last event for the year is the clothing and book drive, which we are doing in collaboration with an NGO called 5 Starter Health. This is essentially a nationwide campaign involving a lot of Golden Key chapters from different universities. The only issue with this is that obviously Corona has impacted a lot. When UCT initially conceptualized this event and brought us all into it, it was under the assumption that the lockdown would end at some point this year and that we would then all resume our normal campus activities and we then carry on with the year. So as clearly that's not happened, so it's impacted our drop-off locations. So at present, we haven't yet advertised this because we're still struggling to sort out drop-off locations. We're in communication with WCCO to see if they're willing to be one. And one of the members from 5 Starter Health has made her house a drop-off. So that's where we are with that right now, but we will update all of you on social media once plans become more concrete in regards to that event.
Right. So the next thing that we want to just look at is, in as much as Golden Key does emphasize on academics, you know, as university students, more so with everything that's going on, it's really important to balance academics, your community involvement, as well as your personal time. Sometimes it can be very difficult to balance all three, and a lot of students have complained, especially more so this year, of being overwhelmed with the sheer amount of work, you know, working from home as well. So what we've done is we've gotten speakers to actually speak about what they've done so far, before the pandemic and during the pandemic, and how they've been able to balance their time. So the first speaker that I'd like to introduce is Yashfia Bunwari. He's currently a fifth year medical student at WITS. He has obtained a BSc in biological science. He also has his honors in medical cell biology. He's a founder of Stitched Up Scrubs. He's an author as well as a tutor. So I'd like to just give him the opportunity to tell us how he's able to balance all of this and just tell us a little bit more about himself.
Right, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm clear and that everybody can hear me. I'm coming to you live from my room at the Wits Junction. So I think this evening, what I want to start off by doing is just saying congratulations and well done to the committee. You know, very often I look at myself and look at others, and I think that they're doing a lot for the community and everyone around us, but I didn't know that Golden Key did this much. So well done to you guys. A big hats off to you. And I want to also just say congratulations to everyone who has made it to this platform. Not everyone makes it a Golden Key, so it's an achievement that each and every one of you should be proud of. And yeah, I hope that your family is proud too. So today I'm going to just start off my talk with talking about the 3 E's that I remind myself of every day. And these 3 E's are: one is to empower, the second is to encourage, and the third is to engage. Now, one would think to themselves that no, empower, encourage, engage would be something that you would be doing for somebody else. But today I want to remind you that when you empower, engage, you need to start doing it with yourself. Because if you can't empower yourself, if you can't encourage yourself, and you can't engage with yourself every day, then it's going to be very difficult for you to do it with other people. So I want you to realize that the power is in your hands. Anything you want, you can do. Okay? Today I want to highlight the greatness of the position that you are in. You are young, you are capable, you have all the opportunities around you. And very often when I'm asked to introduce myself, I usually say to people that I'm an opportunist. Now, what does that mean when you say that you're an opportunist? It doesn't necessarily mean that you take advantage of other people to become in a position or a place of power. No, it means that you look for opportunities in every single situation, be it a pandemic or not a pandemic itself. Because I do believe that destiny isn't something that we are destined to achieve or that will happen if we go trolling through life, so to speak. But destiny is what we create for ourselves and what basically we make happen for ourselves. So when you get up each and every morning, and when I get up each and every morning, I ask myself, well, what is it I want to achieve today? And I always say to myself that getting a degree is not enough. I mean, even finding love is not enough. And for God's sakes, maybe even getting married isn't enough. Because if you haven't discovered your purpose in life, then all these things that's meant to accessorize your life won't necessarily mean much. But how does one find purpose, and where does it all begin? So it firstly begins with goal setting. You know, a friend of mine, Nini Mboweni, always says to me that, yes, you must always have a 5-year plan. And in this 5-year plan, you set goals for yourself. You say to yourself, at the end of 5 years, what is it that I, as Yashvir Banwari, or whoever your name is, right, want to achieve? And by the time you reach the 3rd or the 4th year of this 5-year plan, it should be changing. Because over the years, your goals change. So you should be upping your standards. You should be ensuring that, listen, my goals are now set higher than they were last year. And in that way, you go through life changing your 5-year plan each and every 3 to 4 years. And that way you achieve what you want to achieve. And you know, I always thought to myself that we spend our whole lives imagining goals. You know, we worry about the future, but all that ever is to be worried about is what's happening here and the decisions we make in the present moment, which are based on one of 2 things. It's either based on love or it's based on fear. Now, in the words of Jim Carrey, he said, so many of us make our choices and our decisions out of fear disguised as practicality. You know, we always want to choose the safe option in life, as people will describe it. And what we really seem to want in life or to achieve in life seems impossibly out of reach. And in that way, we're too scared to even ask the universe to give it to us. Some of us might want to say we want to be billionaires. Some of us want to be authors. Some of us want to be doctors. Some of us want to be lawyers. And we're always scared to say to the universe that this is what I want. But I want you to get up tomorrow morning and say to yourself, this is what I want. And the only person who can make that happen is you and yourself. What I'm actually getting at is that I'm proof that you can ask the universe for what you want. You can ask yourself for what you want, and you can achieve it. So to give you some context as to why I'm saying this, I'm going to start off with my first year of university. In my first year of university, I came here from a very impoverished family on the Vice Chancellor Scholarship. And I started off by only having 10 meals per week. And I obviously had to find ways to ensure that I could feed myself and also feed my family. And I'm sure many of you would know that being at university doesn't only come with the cost of, let's say, just having a meal and a way to get to campus. It comes with the cost of living. It's where you spend maybe 3 to 4 years of your life. And when I got here in first year, I started waiting tables at Spur. In my second year, I started walking to tutoring centers as far as Linksfield to start tutoring. So I'd finish my labs at the end of the day and I would go and walk to these tutoring centers just to make a living. By third year, I found myself already working 3 jobs. And you know what the beautiful part was? I said to myself, Yash, you are going to finish that degree. And at the end of 3 years, I completed it. Then I went on to apply for medicine, and that was the first knock. I didn't get into medicine after third year. Now, many of us would see failure as a letdown and something that, we should just give up. But I want you to remember something, that failure is inevitable. You're going to fail at some point in your life. And when you fail and you find yourself at rock bottom, you say, this is really rock bottom and I've reached rock bottom in my life now. I want everyone to remember that rock bottom is a great foundation on which you can build and on which you can grow. And so I went on to then apply for my honors degree in medical cell biology. And by God's grace and the people around me supporting me, I ensured that I finished that degree with distinction and thereafter got into medicine. I'm currently in my 5th year medicine. But it doesn't stop there. I have a passion for helping people. And so I recently started working for the past 2 years at Popilo Impilo Community School. And there I tutor mathematics and physical sciences. And we've taken their pass rate from a very low of 50 to 60% up to 94.7% last year. These are kids who probably never saw themselves going to university. These are kids who probably never thought that they would have these futures that they see on TV. Education seems to be only for the privileged, but you have a role to play in that and you can change that. And that's exactly what I did. So in my 25-hour day, I tutor. I've recently started a company called Stitched Up Scrubs with a close friend of mine, and it doesn't stop there. I'm also going forward now and working towards my PhD, because sometimes just being a doctor isn't enough. You want to be more than what your abilities allow you to achieve. Now, the point of me basically telling you all of this isn't necessarily to boast about the achievements or how I got here so far, but it's to highlight that everything is possible while you're a student, if you are willing to put yourself out there. So let's start with 5 steps of how I actually went about going this. The first thing is you've got to put yourself out there. All the opportunities are available. There are people at the university who are willing to help. There are platforms at the university that are open to each and every student. It's up to you to ensure that you engage with these platforms and that you actually go out there and put yourself out there and say, these are the opportunities that I'd like to achieve, and this is how I'm going to go about doing it. Because the opportunities that you achieve will only come from the opportunities that you create for yourself. So if you go out there and you ask people, this is what I want, they will either tell you yes or no. And if you get 1 yes in every 10 no's, then trust me, I think that you're a winner. Remember, you can fail at something you don't want to do in life. So you might as well take a chance at something that you love doing, no matter how long it takes you. Medicine didn't take me 6 years as it would take the average student. It took me more. This is my 7th year at university. So what I'm saying is that you need to remember that everything in your time at your pace. Lastly, to bring this to a close, I'm just going to talk about something very personal to me. And I've recently just finished a book which I'm planning to publish next year on the eve of my graduation. And that book is called To the Boy with No School Shoes. And I hope that you all will get a chance to read it, but it speaks about my life journey and it speaks about how I basically managed to get through university and achieve everything that I did achieve. And I'm going to share a few points with you right now, which will come up on a slide on the screen, which is 5 rules of which I basically live my life by every day. So if you want something, rise early each day and go after it. Remember that yesterday is only meant to teach you a lesson and not dictate tomorrow. So each and every day you must start afresh. Number 3, don't punish yourself for somebody else's mistakes. 4, finish what you started. And always remember that excellence ought not to be an act, it ought to be a habit. Your goal in life should always be to create a life that you never need a vacation from. And just remember this, to bring it to a close finally, is that your current circumstances in life don't determine where you'll go. They merely determine where you should start. So to close up, I just want to say happy Women's Month to everyone, and may God richly bless you all. Good night, and Golden Key, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for that, Yash. So we're now going to move on to our next speaker. We're almost concluding with our program. We're not going to go too far over time. After this, we're going to discuss the elections briefly. Then we're going to have a Q&A session. I've noted some questions that have come up in the Q&A part. So don't worry, your questions aren't going to go unanswered. So I had the pleasure of meeting Riadile when I was in first year. We stayed at the same res. And I met her towards that end of the year. She joined the Golden Key Executive Committee. So she is a BCom Law Wits graduate, a current LLB student, a Golden Key member, and she was Public Relations Officer last year. And she is currently also a member of the Maratoli Outreach. When we were last speaking, I think she said she had connectivity issues, but I think she's on now. So yes. Ati, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all well. I hope that second semester is treating you well. I'm just here to basically provide how I have juggled my academic life and giving back in terms of the Maratoli outreach, and also juggling my personal life and family, especially during this time, and also how I've gone about it before the pandemic. So first of all, I'm here to remind everyone that it is second semester. It's a new beginning. Whatever issues or problems that you may have encountered in the first semester are not to be carried into the second semester. So I'm really hoping that the tips that I will provide today will help you, hopefully give you some perspective on how to juggle things, you know? Anyway, moving right along, the first tip that I will provide. So let me just explain how I've gone about it. So when Kondi asked me to speak, I thought, well, everyone sort of knows the basic advice of drawing up a timetable. We have to have times on the side, make it look really pretty. But no one has actually really spoken about the prerequisites that go into following a timetable or drawing up a timetable. And those are the sort of things that I'm hoping to touch base on today. The first tip I'm going to give is to make a list of your priorities. And I know that sounds a bit silly or a bit childish to do, because who doesn't have their priorities in straight at this point? But the truth is, we aren't really conscious of the way that we spend our time. And I think I realized that, I think in my matric year, you know, Instagram is booming all the time, Twitter is booming, and now we're looking at a time where we can be on our phones all the time. You know, we don't have lectures, or we're not in lecture venues where we have to sort of be disciplined and hide our phones under our tables or whatever it is. So by providing or listing the things that you find to be a priority, you're allowing yourself to be aware, consciously aware of how you're spending your time, and therefore you realize when you are wasting your time, you know. And it also makes it a lot easier to draw up a timetable, you know. So that's prerequisite number one for me. When you have a list of your priorities, you are aware of when you're wasting your time, and you know exactly what you need to allocate your time to. Moving right along. The second thing that has really helped me, it has helped me before lockdown, it's helping me during lockdown, is the skill of killing two birds with one stone. So as you can see on the slideshow, I am part of the Maratoli Outreach, which is an organization that is dear to my heart. So with that thing being said, the founder of the Maratoli Outreach is my older sister. So when we go out there and we do what we do, you guys can check us out on Instagram. When we go out there and we do what we do, I am giving back to the community, but at the same time, I am spending time with my family, you know, so that enables me to kill two birds with one stone, in the sense that I am spending quality time with my family and at the same time giving back to the community. And I just advise you in the little things that you do. So for example, pre-COVID, I'd go to the library with some of my friends, and that would be us hanging out and doing whatever it is that we do. But at the same time, we're studying and making sure that we're getting our degrees. Another tip that I would give is to establish a routine, guys. I really can't emphasize the importance of this, because you can't exactly drop a timetable and expect to follow it when you don't have a routine in check. And I think life was a lot easier in terms of drawing up a routine when we were at school and we had a set timetable, whereas now it's not like you are expected to be sitting in a venue looking at your lecturer. You can just get access to the slides at any point in time, you know? But I think it's important to establish a routine. So what I do is in the morning, I wake up, I make my bed, get dressed, and I start off my lectures by 8 and perhaps 9 a.m. latest. And that is even when I don't have a lecture that starts at 8 a.m. because when you establish a routine, you're able to have a timetable that goes in accordance with that routine, and you're able to follow it because it becomes habit for you, you know? Another tip is, I know there's a myth that since we're in varsity, surviving on 3 to 4 hours of sleep is okay. It is not okay, guys. It's not okay, because you find yourself trying to survive on such a small amount of sleep, and your energy levels start to decrease throughout the day, and you want to nap in any case. So I'd encourage you, try get 6 to 7 hours of sleep, because that, once you have eventually established your priorities and you have a timetable of things that you need to do, and you are now dedicated to following that timetable filled with your priorities, then you need all the energy that you can get. So sleep. And then finally, like I started off with, now that you have all your prerequisites in order, you have established exactly what is important to you, you have your list of priorities that you are accountable to yourself for, now you can draw up a timetable. And I honestly urge everyone to be very realistic with your timetables. I think your timetable cannot look the same as somebody else's timetable who perhaps grasps concepts quicker, or someone who doesn't have as many responsibilities as you do. So if you are aware, especially now during COVID times, that you know you have to make sure that the dishes are washed, or you need to clean, or you need to do the laundry, and you need to do your part in keeping the house standing, then slot that into your timetable. You know, make sure that you have established, maybe that can be your morning routine, where you make sure you get all your chores out the way, or the bulk of them out of the way. And in the rest of the day, you can slot in whatever you need. And you know you better than anybody else knows you. So you know that you are most productive in the evening, during the day, or first thing in the morning. So try to get some of your most difficult subjects out of the way during those times. And those are basically some of the tips that I've picked up along the way. I think for me, last year was definitely a learning experience, because I was part of the Golden Key Committee. I was fighting to get this degree that by God's grace I finally have. And it was a learning experience because I had to learn how to juggle. But in setting my priorities and making sure I had a proper list of priorities, I made sure that, I mean, I'm not a clown in a circus, so I can't juggle 5 million balls at one go. You have to chop down your list of priorities in order for you to efficiently juggle everything that you need to do. So yeah, that's my side. I wish you guys all the best, and may semester 2 just be the semester where you reap the results. And I really hope that the tips I provided work to your benefit. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Adi. I hope you guys took the words that she said to heart. I think they're all very important points for being able to be the best that you can all the time. So second last point on the agenda before we hit our Q&A is the election process. So elections comprise a series of dates which are yet to be confirmed, but please look out for our email you once applications open, and please look out on our social media platforms. We will be advertising them there as well. The next slide has our social handles. But in the last week, the Monday of the last week is the 24th. So in that week, applications will then open, and then you'll have the opportunity to apply to be in the committee. Last year, we had an opportunity to go to different campuses and give out our manifestos as potential committee members. We would like to do the same thing with all applicants this year, possibly on Zoom, but we will explore that in future. But please look out for all all of the dates and our social media platforms and in emails. Please read your emails. Don't just archive them when they arrive. Everything will be confirmed then about those processes. And I think just to answer one of the questions from Campbell, which is it too much to apply for the committee while starting postgrad next year? And will it impact my studies? I think that entirely depends on, firstly, which position you'd like to be in once constituting starts. And secondly, what your time management looks like and what your life looks like and what your responsibilities are. I'd actually had this conversation with Ati last year, who just spoke, when I was considering applying. And I asked her if I should, and she said, if you'd like to, but choose your positions wisely. So there's some positions that allow you to be active at certain points, but not all the time. If you are a very, very busy person, then I wouldn't suggest choosing, looking at positions like president or vice president, because those require you to be constantly communicating every day with head office or chapter advisors. But if you think that you can manage your time, you can definitely join the committee. I know many people, I know final year students, there are often postgrads on the Golden Key Committee. And we even have pharmacy students, fourth year pharmacy students, fourth and third, I think. So it ultimately depends on what you can handle and how your time management looks like. But there are positions with varying intensities on the committee. So if you would really like to be a part of the committee, then I would encourage you to do so if you think you can make the time to do that. So we're now going on to the Q&A session. That concludes any part that we had to formally present. Another question is by Kelsey. I think this is a very important question. Please just note our social media handles at the bottom. Please, please, please follow us on at least one of them. And you'll be able to keep up to date with all the events that we're planning. So Kelsey wants to know if there's a way in which they can be involved in any events before the year ends. That's precisely why we decided to host this event, so that you can see what events are coming up and so that you can contribute should you feel that you have the capacity to do so. So as we've stated, our THINKER'S Symposium is still currently a work in progress. So if you have a topic you'd like to see around Women's Month, if you have speakers you'd like to see, our email address is right there, goldenkeyvitsuniversity@gmail.com. Please email us, let us know what you're thinking, if you'd like to collaborate in any of those events. As I said previously, in terms of our book and clothing drive, we are currently struggling with places to have a drop-off point. So if you are perhaps in the Joburg area and are willing to make, and you know of an organization or someone that is willing to make themselves a drop-off point for us, please let us know. But in terms of all the events that we've stated, there's a place for anybody to contribute should they wish to. So please use that opportunity to do so. I see another question. My brother and I are part of the Golden Key Honor Society and I've graduated from Wits. Lost all communication after he graduated in December as his Wits email was terminated. How can he change his email address on his profile in order to receive this new communication in future? So there is, if you go onto the website, it was recently refurbished or redone this year. But if you go onto the website, the Golden Key website, you can log on and update your details. If that doesn't work, I would suggest that your brother emails Golden Key head office. So if you go through, maybe if you've gone through your emails, there's a Golden Key head office email address there. Or I'll have please can one of the committee members just type in the chat box what the Golden Key head office email address is. Email them and let them know and they'll get back to you. And they'll tell you how you can do that. The recording of this meeting, we'll let you know on our social media how you can access that recording. I'm not sure if we're able to post it, but we will let you know how you can access it later on. So I hope that answers your question. I don't see any other questions. So that concludes our session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, for having this evening with us. And many of you stuck it through till the end. So I hope it was valuable to you, that you learned a bit more about the committee and about we as a chapter do. And hopefully we can form a more collaborative relationship throughout the rest of the year and in coming years with your new committee. And please apply should you wish to take a stronger role within the life of the university and within Golden Key. But that concludes our evening. So thank you so much for joining us.